Hey, everybody. Welcome to Risky Business. I'm Kathy Kaler.
And I'm Bliss Landon.
Welcome to our episode. We are just, again, excited about a cool show coming up.
Absolutely. This is fun.
Very fun.
And they all seem to have something to do with the brain. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. How are we getting that?
I don't know. Clearly, we're lacking in that department, and we're needing some brain information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
But
exciting.
isn't that cool? I mean,
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, it fits into everything that we have been talking about with all of our other episodes.
Yes.
And hopefully you are tuning in. Follow us on our YouTube channel because we are posting every Monday. We get a new episode that will be with an exciting guest. And it really has kind of been the thread, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Just about how, how we can do better, how we can feel better, perform better, just do everything better. And what kind of healing do we need to go through, or what kind of tools do we need to learn to navigate our way through this thing called life?
Right.
Right. And and it's not too late to learn these things.
No, it's not, because I'm no spring chicken.
Please.
However, we can always learn
Absolutely.
And we really do focus. Well, at least your background is tech, and we're talking about kids and devices, but all of this other stuff that comes around it, how we're living our lives, how we're sleeping, how we're de-stressing and eating, it's all related.
Well, and then we're going, we've done this now pivot to, for kids anyway, where they're going back to school, but it's not exactly the same. I don't know that it ever will be. And what does that look like? And how are things going? And what have they learned? What are they lacking? And how do we move forward? And so the guest that we're having today is going to give us some great tools on that exact thing, on how we help our kids to navigate this new way of online learning or using their learning devices, and what that looks like, and how we can help them to perform better in this new hybrid way of learning, which is kind of new. It's different.
It's very new to me. It's very new to me. Well, we would love to introduce our guest. We're very excited to have Dr. Tere Linzey. She's a licensed educational psychologist. She's the founder of BrainMatterZ and author of Measuring Up. Her website is BrainMatterZ.com, and that's BRAIN. So glad I can spell that. Matters, MATTERZ.com.
Oh, that's important. The Z on the end.
Tere, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Tere. We're so interested in how you got started in this whole industry. You have a quite a history on where you started and where you are today.
I did. I was a basketball coach and a PE teacher.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
That's my background.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So when I found out that brains and the body or muscles train exactly the same, I thought, gosh, I could do this. If I could win in basketball and I could train them to do that, the brain trains exactly the same way. And so I just went back to school and gathered all that new brain research and then developed a program around it. So I went from being a head coach to a head coach.
Right? Oh my gosh,
that's awesome.
Amazing. Where were you coaching?
I was coaching at Beverly Hills High School.
Oh, no way.
My dad went there.
And my husband went there.
Really?
Look at us.
Not at the same time. Your husband is not as old as my dad.
Well, small world. That's what it is.
Wow.
It is.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, tell us about BrainMatterZ.
So at BrainMatterZ, we train the brain exactly the way an athlete would train for excellence. So there's fundamental skills that you need for a sport. Say, let's just say tennis, right? So you have a forehand and a backhand and a serve. You have to have those perfected if you're going to be good at tennis, right?
Right.
Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So there are fundamental skills in learning that have to be optimized. Visual processing speed, how you take it in through your eyes, attention, that ability to attend to something. Auditory processing. Can you listen to what the teacher's saying and hold on to that information? If even one of those fundamental skills is not working optimally, then learning becomes hard. And if it's hard, they don't want to do it. Even if they're very smart, they can still have one of these areas of the brain not optimized, and learning can be difficult for them.
And is that something that you have found can be from birth or from some type of event that has taken place in a child's life?
You know what? It can be nurture or nature or both, or it could be concussions, or, all of these things along the way. Everything in the brain is practice. So what you practice is what you hardwire. So parents ask me all the time, is it okay for Jimmy to watch, 8 hours of video games? And I'll say, sure, if that's what you want to hardwire. But if you want to hardwire reading, writing, and math, we probably better be practicing those things.
Those things as well too. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So how does it work when you take on a client or a patient?
Well, the first thing we do is get a baseline, just like you would in sports, right? If you were going to have them come to tryouts, you'd want to see the baseline. Where are they, right? And then you want to find out where they want to be. And then we come up with a plan to get them there.
So the baseline, is that a test, or how do you figure out what the baseline is?
It is. It's a basic standardized IQ test. And with that, you get visual processing speed, working memory, attention, verbal comprehension. All of that comes to that one small little 45-minute test. Okay. And then I can look at that and say, okay, gosh, this is great here. And this might be a little weak, and we probably need to optimize that. And then we take them through the program. It takes 20 hours to retrain the brain. And just 20 hours. And I tell the kids all the time, if we could change your whole life in 20 hours, would you do it? And they're like, yeah, you know.
And how intensive a process is it? Like, how many hours a week do you work on it to get through to the 20 hours?
I need to see them at least 4 in the week. 4 hours.
So it's pretty intense then. That's a lot, right?
It is. It is. So but we do it in the summer, say like at Santa Barbara, we do it at Kate School, and we can do it at Brain Lab. So we do 4 hours a day for 5 days. And then at the end, I retest those areas so parents can see the progress. The students are already feeling it. Wow. So, and then some kids do it during the year, and they'll do 2 sessions during the week, or they might do a Saturday and Sunday session because they're so busy at school during the week. So it's really a pretty short process when you think about how effective it is.
Wow. And what percentage does it work? I mean, what's your success rate?
I can only think of 2 students in the thousands and thousands that maybe I didn't help because there was a level of behavior that I couldn't penetrate. So anytime a student comes and they give their best effort in those 20 hours, we're going to change their brain. There's just no way around that. Just like if you went to the gym for 20 straight hours and you worked on a certain muscle group, you were going to change that muscle group.
That's right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. It might be really sore afterwards, but it's going to change. Yeah.
Yes. So we've had clinical trials. It's proven to be effective, but it's fun. And when something is fun, that's when the amygdala in the brain is wide open. And when it's wide open, learning becomes fast, and that's why they always say, gosh, if you can make it, if teachers can make it fun in the classroom, right? Well, that's why you want that to happen. PE teachers make it fun, right?
Right. So we did.
Yeah. And coaches make it fun. And coaches have known this for years. So if you can just coach in a classroom, that's just so helpful.
That's great. Now, what's the optimal age for this program to go through?
We don't work with anyone younger than 6. And the oldest I've ever worked with was actually an FBI agent that was 99, a previous FBI.
Wow.
FBI
Way.
that was 99. Yeah.
So that was a question that I was having. So I sort of know we're never too old, right? But you know how they say if you want to learn a language, learn it when you're young. It is more challenging and difficult as an adult.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing as changes we can do in our mid-50s?
Oh gosh, neuroplasticity goes throughout life, and that just means the ability of the brain to change through experience.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So that's the great news. Now we know that we can raise IQ. We know that we can impact the brain at any level. You just have to make sure that you're practicing the right things. See, everything in the brain is practice. If you're practicing the wrong things, you'll move yourself in another direction. If you're practicing the right things, then you'll move yourself towards your goals. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So let's say that I want to be a writer. I need to write, right? I mean, that's a brain function, right? Because you're writing. So you want to constantly be writing to get better at it. Or if I'm a reader, I need to constantly be reading. Or like, how much time do you put into something that you're very interested in, but you're not really doing it right now?
Okay, so for writing and reading, there are underlying fundamental skills for those. Okay, so your visual processing speed and your eye-hand need to be fast, right? Because you need to get, in writing, you need to get it from your brain down to the paper.
Right.
You can have great ideas, but if you can't get them on paper, you can't be a writer.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So there are fundamental skills that we would speed up at BrainMatterZ to make writing easier for you. And then your practice of writing becomes more enjoyable.
See,
Does that make sense?
I knew you were going to say that. That's awesome.
And reading as well, because if you can't take in visual information very quickly, then especially for our students, if they can't take it in quickly, then reading's not fun and they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm talking to parents a lot and I'll say, does he hate movies with subtitles? And mom will say, oh, he hates them. And see, those are just clues for me that he can't take in information very quickly through his brain,
right,
through his eyes. And so when we speed that up for them and it becomes more fun, then I would say the one thing I hear most often from parents is, oh my gosh, he's reading for pleasure. She's reading for pleasure.
Wow.
She sat down the other day and started reading the newspaper.
Wow.
And things like that. And so I think, and reading bleeds into everything we do in life.
Well, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's really important that our kids enjoy learning because we want them to be lifelong learners.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we are.
Like we are. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. We want that one.
Do you find, with kids who are, if they're 10 right now, they've had a device in their hands most of their life. And even I've kids who are in their 20s. So much is information pushed to them. Is there anything beneficial on the phone? And even for myself, some of these games or Sudoku or anything like that do you recommend anything like that is
good
kind
for
of
your brain?
Memory, building and good for your brain?
Well, so first of all, I recommend a balance of screen time and pen to paper and other things, right? Because if everything was meant to be done on a computer, Olympic athletes would train on Wii.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So first of all, that balance is good. The problem with the screen and computer brain training has been in the past, and there may be something new in research lately. I haven't seen it, but it's that ability to transfer it to the classroom. So you do it on the screen and you get better on the screen, but then you try to sit down and write or read in the classroom a regular book and those things, and it's not transferring. So that's one of the things in the BrainMatterZ program that we've made sure is happening, that we're doing the things that they're actually going to, the way they're going to do it in the classroom, so that when they get in the classroom, it's transferring to that.
Got it.
Are there good things online? There's great vocabulary things and things like that. But when it comes to the brain games, they're fun, but they don't always transfer to the classroom. And that's what the research tells us so far.
Do you work with children with any learning disabilities like autism or dyslexia or any of that?
Tons.
Really?
Tons. Now, it's interesting because typically what gravitates to the program are kids who are wanting to get into certain colleges, or they're wanting to raise their SAT and their ACTs, or they're wanting to just, they know they're smart, but they've got one little area of the brain they know that's not working up to their potential. So they're coming in. But we've had several kids come through the program that were in special ed in public schools that are not in special ed anymore.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's
right.
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's a good tool for any kid, really.
It is. It's a great tool for anyone to go through. I have an adult program, and, they're very fun because it's not quite as intense, right? You're trying to get something back with the adults. But they're not necessarily, having to do test taking and all of those things like our kids are having to do, where you have to be a little bit more intense with them. But the adult groups we have so much fun with because, people are laughing at themselves. They're like, oh my God, I think my IQ dropped 10 points, or, they'll talk about that, and it's very fun.
Oh, that's great. What about students who say, or they get good grades? Let's say they get decent grades. They're an A/B student, but they have a really hard time taking a test. Haven't you heard that?
Yes.
I can do so well, but I'm a terrible test taker. I've heard that. I think I even may have said that, during the time I was in school, but I hear it from my son. And, what is that problem, or what did they need to work on to solve that?
Well, test taking requires working memory and visual processing speed. And here's what I hear from kids all the time. I studied, and then I sat down to take the test, and it's just gone. It evaporated. It's like I didn't study at all.
Couldn't do it. I remember feeling that way for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's a combination of making sure the student is studying in the way that their brain processes. That's number one. And then the second thing is that capacity to hold on to information in the brain and not let it evaporate. That's where we'd be working on that working memory and visual memory. We'd be making sure that they were able to hold on to it so it doesn't evaporate in the test. Because if it does, because anytime you're feeling stressed, one side of the brain stops talking to the other side, right?
Okay.
And so now, not only do you have information evaporating, now you've got the anxiety of, oh no, right? And so they're feeling this double whammy on them. So we speed up their visual processing speed so that the anxiety goes away. And then we increase that capacity to hold on to information after they study. And then we make sure that they're studying it the correct way, make sure that they know how they should be studying. So with all of those things coming into play, and then mom and dad knowing, oh, you know what, Jimmy, you should be studying this way. Remember what Dr. Linzey said? So with all of that, then they become much better test takers, and they don't dread it,
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Can you share, like, when you say speed up, like, what does that look like? Are you one-on-one with them? Is there something you're doing physically with them, or are they on paper, or is it like, here's a tray of stuff, memorize it and take it away? Like, how do you do it? How do you do it?
No. We're working. So there are lots of ways they can work. They can work one-on-one with us, or they can come in a brain lab, which we take 8 students in a brain lab, and they're at a long, long table. We have brain cards. And one of the things the kids love is we have brain cards, and on the cards, there are numbers, shapes, colors, and letters. Okay. And they're all on each card, right? They're all different. Okay. And so they have to categorize them as quickly as they can into, say, numbers first. So all the ones, all the twos, threes, the fours, fives, as quickly as they can. And I'm timing them. And we have their clipboards. And so we're writing down their time. And then I say, pick up the cards, shuffle them. And now we're going to go to colors. Now you have to put them in the 6 colors. And then they pick up the cards again, they shuffle them. And now we're going to time them. They're going to do shapes. So see that cognitive flexibility. Okay. And you can hear the kids going, oh, wait, what are we doing? Are we doing cards? Are we on colors? And so they're doing these cards as fast as they can. And they love it because it's fun for them to do it. And we're timing them. And then we'll tell them, say, okay, Johnny, you have to beat 45. Susie, you have to beat 38. So now they're competing against their own brains, but they're also in that brain lab where they can see that, wow, Susie's putting her cards down fast. I better pick it up. Just like an athlete.
Competing.
To do that, right? Mm-hmm. And so the competition is with oneself. However, they also have that group in there that's raising their level of play, so to speak, as we'd say in coaching, right? Yes, so we want to raise that. And then as soon as they master it, we add another level of difficulty. So maybe this time, now we're going to add music, right? Or maybe we're going to add some type of distraction. Now they have to beat their time with that. So it's funny because they'll say when we get in the classroom and you're not there trying to distract us, it's like a piece of cake,
That's great. So it really teaches them to focus. Wow.
And I see that you've there's labs all over the place. You got a lab in Mumbai.
We did. Yes. Before COVID, we were there, and we're at Stanford and UCLA. Typically this year, COVID, they're not allowing people on their campus in person yet, but they will for 2022. But we're at Kate School, we're at Sierra Canyon School.
Oh, Sierra Canyon. I know that's
we're at any school that wants us to come for this summer. And of course, they've been calling left and right this summer. We're in New York, we're in Manhattan. So, we're everywhere. Try to have as many as we can to let kids access them. We want to make sure. We went to China, once. That was fun.
So is this a program that you pay for? Do the parents have to pay for this?
The parents do pay for it.
And
yes.
how much does it cost?
Well, it's typically, it kind of depends whether we're scholarshiping some or whether or not. So it could be anywhere from $2,500 for the 20 hours all the way up, depending what the parents want. If they're wanting mental health with it, if they're wanting fitness with it, they have all these add-ons that they can put on. And then after they have so many at a school, so let's say a school sends 3 students or 5 students or whatever, then they'll let me know, and then we'll scholarship a student of their choice. Maybe a student whose parents can't afford to send them or something. And then the school will say, yeah, we'd like for, Sally to go through the program on scholarship. So we try to scholarship as many as we can. We don't have that nonprofit part of our program set up, which I'm hoping to do. Okay. But we try to make it feasible for most students to go through it.
And it's going to be in person this summer. It's not going to be online. It's definitely in person.
We have both. So
you have both. Okay.
We have it virtually, and we have it virtually, and we also have it in person. But most people are really excited about,
I'm sure,
us being back in person.
Oh,
it's more fun. And I think when we have it at Kate, we're even going to add like the climbing wall and the obstacle courses, and so that kids can get some fitness as well. Because
fantastic.
What fitness does for the body is a drop in the bucket compared to what it does for the brain.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of times in I guess we call it preventative health and being proactive.
Yes.
And I always like to put the phrase pay now or pay later, because, it's really true. It's there's so much when we decide not to do things to improve, to enhance, to kind of get that quality of life. now, it's going to add up later. And so, I love what we can do. And this is so, it's really extraordinary to kind of see what is available and to help kids who, with something so small, like I just think about my son who doesn't like to read. Well, I'm figuring from you today, he's just not processing. He might love to read.
He might. And I tell kids all the time, because I never want them to think that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
So I tell them all the time, you have a BMW brain. We're going to get you in for a tune-up. We're going to get you back out on the road. Yeah. And I tell parents all the time, if you don't maintain your car, eventually it's going to break down.
Right. Yep. Right.
And everything else, right? Our bodies, all of that. And the brain is no different. And the brain is the epicenter for everything. So this is really something we all need to be paying attention to.
Wow.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing and just kind of bringing your whole program and your experience. And just also the way you speak about it is so enlightening, and it just makes it like I want to do it.
I know. I mean, you have so much passion for what you're doing, and that's you can just see it all over your face. You are so happy with what you're doing. That's just incredible, and I'm sure you're really making a difference out there. And I think it's wonderful. I want to take it.
Agreed.
Let's take it.
And is the website BrainMatterZ.com, is that the best place for people to get information, ask you questions?
It is, and they can call, and I'm happy to talk to them on the phone. And that's probably when parents like it best, when they can just ask questions and I can.
Yeah.
Is there a list of schools where you are and a schedule for the summer out and all that? Okay,
it's on the website. It sure is.
All
Thanks for making it so much fun, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for being on our show. We really appreciate it, and good luck to everything you're doing. And just keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Wow.
Okay.
Another
Tere Linzey.
Just so inspiring. Wow.
Very much so.
Yeah.
We have a lot of brain work to do.
We do.
We have so many things to do
yes.
Right?
Just so many things to do. I don't know. We got to get a jump on it.
But it makes you realize that it's really important to think about your brain in a way other than just like, I just kind of think we don't think about it. Like you think about your heart, you think about your muscles, but
I've been trying to make a point of reading more. I think I feel better when I do. And there's something about picking up a book and just diving into it. And I think a lot of our kids are not doing that right now.
Yeah.
And they may be getting further away from it, and they need to get back to that. And this would be a great program for them to go through to get re-inspired to read.
Yeah.
Books are so incredible. I mean, and my son too does not like to read. So
it was such an escape for me when I was a kid.
I know.
Like I loved getting into a book.
Yeah, it is an escape. Right? I like doing it now.
Yeah.
It's a great escape.
I remember something so vivid when I was, I did the Today Show for so many years, and I became very close with Katie Couric. And I went over to her house one day, and in her kitchen, she had this big blackboard, and every day there was a new word.
Oh, that's
and there was the definition, and her kids were a little bit older than mine, but at the time they were probably grade school or junior high. But it was a family practice that they learned a new word
every day. That's
to keep expanding your vocabulary.
That's good.
Right?
I feel like I failed.
I
gotta do more.
Let's do it.
Do you think my 26-year-old and my 24-year-old would think I was crazy if I started sending them words every day?
No. Just blame it on me. Oh, that's Kathy. Anyway.
But no, I know there's so many things you can do. Yeah. This is exciting.
But that's what we're doing. We're inspiring.
That's right.
We're inspired, and we hope you are getting inspired.
Exactly. And it's fun to have guests like that on it that just, you don't even know these things exist.
Right. So BrainMatterZ, guys. Mm-hmm. The website is BrainMatterZ, MATTER, and then there's a Z. So BrainMatterZ.com. You can get all that information, summer programs, telephone number to call for more questions if you might have for Dr. Tere Linzey. Really extraordinary.
Yeah.
And if you got questions for us, don't hesitate. Please reach out to us. We're at Risky Business at coveragequeens.com. Our website is coveragequeens.com. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got all of our episodes there as well as on our website, but come subscribe. We'd love to have you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
We'll see you again next time.
Bye-bye.